All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive with me. And
It's great to be back.
so today, we're going to be diving into something that everyone uses every single day, but we probably don't think too much about
Yeah.
grammar.
Yeah.
But that's not all.
Right.
There's a little twist here.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at grammar through the lens of an Arabic language podcast about learning English.
Oh, wow.
So we're not actually learning Arabic today,
Okay.
but we're using this example to see how language concepts are taught across cultures,
Interesting.
which I think is super fascinating because we're so used to seeing things through our own kind of cultural lens.
Absolutely.
And specifically, we're going to be talking about the present continuous tense.
Okay.
Have you ever thought about like the mechanics behind how we explain grammar?
Oh, that's a good question. Not really, no. It's just something that I kind of took for granted. It's like, it's just there.
Right, exactly. It's just kind of there, and it's almost invisible to us, especially in our native languages.
Yeah.
So I found it really interesting looking at this podcast, how they broke down the present continuous tense, because they had a really clear structure
Okay.
that I was able to follow, even though I don't speak Arabic. And they started with this phrase, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation.
Okay.
But it sounded something like ana akulu.
And that, even if we don't know Arabic, translates directly to I am eating, right?
Yes.
You jump right into an example,
Yeah.
which I think is a really good way to kind of make the grammar come alive and really make sense for people.
Yeah, and I thought that was really clever of them because even without knowing
Yeah.
what those words meant,
Right.
I could see, okay, they're talking.
You can see the structure.
Yeah, they're talking about the present continuous tense.
Totally. Yeah. And it really reflects good teaching principles, I think, right? You have clear objectives.
Yes.
You show examples, and then you give people the opportunity to practice.
Absolutely.
This is
Even across languages and cultures, it seems like those good teaching principles are pretty universal.
Yeah.
So, as a little refresher,
Okay.
the present continuous tense. How do we form that?
So the present continuous tense, we form it with am is are, depending on the subject, plus the ing ending of the verb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's that am, is, are plus the ing. And to me, what I think is so fascinating about the present continuous is that it really shows this action in progress, like it's a snapshot
It's happening right now.
right now. And it's temporary.
Yeah.
It's not permanent. Like, for example, if you say, I am reading a book
Yeah.
versus I read a book every day,
Exactly.
those have totally different meanings.
Totally. The first one, you're emphasizing that you're in the process of reading. You're in the middle of it. It's ongoing.
Right.
Whereas the second one, you're talking about a habit, something that happens regularly, but not necessarily right this second.
Yeah, and it really adds this whole other layer
They did.
of meaning, I think, to what we're saying. And I noticed that this podcast really focused on that ing sound.
Oh, absolutely.
They had a whole section in there
Yeah.
dedicated to the pronunciation of ing, which made me think about how important
Yeah.
that is for language learners.
Absolutely. Because, it's one thing to kind of like recognize the grammar on paper
Right.
and kind of understand the concept, but being able to actually hear it and produce those sounds
Right.
is absolutely crucial.
If you're learning a language where that's not a sound that you
Right,
can-
especially if it's not a sound that you have in your native language, which, for Arabic speakers, the ing sound is not something that exists.
Yeah, that's a good point. So they really emphasized that, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, it shows that they really understand the needs of their learners.
And then they went on to talk about the three main uses of the present continuous tense.
Okay.
So the first one being actions happening right now.
Right,
The second one being temporary situations.
right.
And the third one, which always trips me up,
Yeah,
is future plans.
yeah. The near future.
Near future.
It has to be near future.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's the one that I always get a little confused about.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's using a present tense to talk about the future,
Right.
but it's for things that are so certain and so imminent that it feels like they're already kind of unfolding, right?
Okay.
Like if you say, we are leaving for vacation tomorrow,
Okay.
it's not happening right this second.
Right.
But the bags are packed.
Right.
The tickets are bought.
Yes.
The excitement is building.
Yes.
It's almost like you're already on that plane.
Oh, that's a good way to think about it. It's
Yeah.
like it's already so set in motion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so close.
Yeah. It's practically present.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I like that a lot. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Good.
So I think what's so fascinating about this is how our language
Mm.
reflects the way we think about time
Absolutely.
and how we connect
Yeah.
the present moment to what's coming next.
It really does. And it makes you wonder, like, how do other languages express these nuances of time?
Yeah.
Do they have a direct equivalent to the present continuous, or do they approach it in a completely different way?
Yeah, and that actually leads perfectly into the question I had for you,
Okay.
thinking about the listener.
Okay.
How does your native language
Ooh,
express these same things?
that's a really interesting question. I'm going to have to think about that.
Yeah, so that's something that I think all of our listeners can think about too.
Definitely.
Like, how does your native language handle,
How do you talk about things that are happening right now?
yeah, actions that are happening right now, temporary situations, future plans?
Future plans, yeah. Is there a specific structure? Is it similar to English?
Yeah. Does it use a similar structure?
Yeah.
Or is it completely different?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really fascinating thing to think about. And honestly, this whole deep dive has been a great reminder to me
Yeah.
to just pay more
Be
attention
more mindful.
to the ways we're using language, even in our own native tongue.
Absolutely, because grammar's not just about rules, right?
No, it's not just about rules.
It's about the tools that we use to express ourselves, to communicate, to paint vivid pictures with our words.
Yes. And sometimes, like you were saying, the best way to
Yeah.
understand these things,
To understand our own tools is
Is
to
with-
look at how other cultures
how other cultures
use a tool.
use them.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but my mind is blown.
And mine too. I love these kinds of deep dives. They really make you think.
Me too.
Yeah.
I always learn something new. So until next time, deep divers.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.